Taking Stock with Pimm Fox and Carol Massar. On demand via our Bloomberg Radio Plus app. Free for iPhone and Android devices.
Boston, you're my home.
You know, the Standells, they weren't even from Boston, but it is a great song. And for someone that is not from Boston, I'm having a great time here live at the Junior Achievement Hall of Fame at the Westin Copley Place in Boston. Joining us now, Bill Herp. He is the Chief Executive of Linear Air. Bill, it's great to have you here. Thanks for being with us.
It's great to be here. Thanks very much for inviting me.
Now, you know, Carol is very concerned about the cloud cover and the takeoff and landing, the departures here in the Boston area, because she needs to make it back in time to catch another plane. Talk a little bit about Linear Air. You might not be able to help Carol today, although you never know.
Well, you know, but get on the phone.
You fly two different kinds of aircraft. I'm thinking, you know, you've got one that is what, 17,500 feet ceiling, somewhere up there, the CR, the single engine propeller, right?
Right. So Linear Air is an air taxi company that actually does two things. One is we operate jet aircraft, small jets that can seat up to 4 people and actually can fly up where the airliners fly for longer distance trips, but with a price point that's significantly less than traditional charter, if you will, and in some cases can actually be competitive with the airlines. And then we coordinate and actually market on behalf of the operators of smaller propeller-powered airplanes, the Cirrus SR-22 that you mentioned, Pimm. And that's an airplane that we find is very attractive for people flying back and forth between Boston and New York and shorter range trips. It's even much more economical than the small jet is, and it offers this kind of true third option between the airlines, which, you know, everyone has a story of frustration with the current airline situation, and the extravagance of private charter.
Bill, you guys making money on this?
Yeah, that's the idea.
No, I know, but you know, if you look at the airline industry or any kind of, I mean, fuel's an expensive part of the cost component, and you sound like you are being very competitive with your pricing, but you're doing okay.
That's right. Well, you know, really the business has been enabled over the course of the last 5-10 years by advances in technology in the airplanes themselves, making them more capable. We were chatting offline about, you know, the way things used to be. You know, these days, you know, even in these small airplanes, we have the same sorts of equipment that real large airliners have, in that we've got weather systems on board, we've got traffic alert systems, we've got terrain alert systems, advanced autopilots that can follow GPS signals all the way down to runways, and those sorts of things. And these technical advances have been able to make these airplanes capable of operating in all sorts of conditions and have allowed us to bring down the cost of flying people around on these private airplanes, if you will, to costs that are competitive with the airlines.
So let's just talk about the smaller one. I want to start there. I mean, I know Carol wants to go on the Eclipse.
I'm not choosy.
Right, because that's the jet, right? That's
Correct.
the Eclipse that you've got.
That's right.
The propeller, how many, what, 4 seats, 4 adults?
The SR-22 has 4 seats, one of which, of course, is used by the pilot.
Correct, yeah.
So there are 3 other seats for passengers, correct.
Okay, and we're talking what it has, about $700 an hour per seat.
Right. So we have sort of 3 options within the service. There's the option of flying per seat, which I described, flying on a Cirrus, and you can buy a seat between selected airports in Boston to selected airports in New York. And then you can actually coordinate your personal use of a Cirrus, and that's about $700 per hour. So the average trip on that ends up being somewhere around $2,000. But you've got the airplane on your schedule to take you from where you are to where you need to be and bring you back later the same day.
The plane is yours.
Plane's yours, exactly.
And what if you, I mean, let's, for example, I mean, you don't just fly between Boston and it's not Logan, it's Hanscom Field.
Hanscom is where we're primarily based, which is the main business.
The old Air Force Base.
Exactly, but it's become the main business aviation airport for the Boston area. But we also fly out of Logan. We can fly out of Logan. We fly out of Worcester. We fly out of Norwood, Beverly.
You'll fly really where, if you've got someone who says, look, I'll take those 3 seats and here's what I'd like to do for the next 3 months, you'll work with them.
When people come to our website, what we ask them is, what's your zip code? You know, where are you now? And then we'll tell them, this is the closest airport to where you are. What's the zip code of where you're trying to go? This is the closest airport to where you will end up, and we can give you a price to take you directly from the closest airport to where you are to the closest airport to where you need to be.
But who's your typical customer?
Well, most of our customers are business travelers who need to get themselves and one or two other people to a place that's difficult to get to either by driving or on the airlines. So what would be classically considered a regional airline market. And the regional airlines are leaving a lot of those markets, as you may have been reading in the popular press. Most of our customers are those business people that have a day trip and realize that this provides the perfect option for them to be able to do it in a day and get back. And then we have, another group of customers who use us to travel for personal reasons. In the summertime in the Boston and New York areas, a lot of folks use us to get to the Cape and the Islands, Long Island, up to
Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard.
Up to the Lakes regions, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard.
And you also go to Canada.
That's right. So we have a lot of people that go up to Lake Muskoka in the summertime,
Right.
a lot of people that travel to Montreal and Toronto.
We're going to have more with Bill Herp. He is the Chief Executive of Linear Air. You're listening to Taking Stock on Bloomberg Radio.